often are you in the gym for the most part on average week to week?
5 to 6. I will take one off day every week for sure. Sometimes situationally, two works out. If I'm just feeling sore in a certain body part or my schedule just didn't allow it that day. Like a week ago, I had to demo like a deck, right? A rotted up deck. So I had to demo that. And I was literally, it was, 80 something degrees here that day. And I'm ripping these boards up and all this stuff. And I'm sweating like crazy. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I was planning on working out tonight. And it got to the point where I was just like, you know how much food I'm going to have to eat to make this workout probably worth it after everything I'm burning right now. So instead, I was like, you know what? I'll just take this as an off day. This is essentially almost like cardio and make sure I get my meals in throughout the night. So then the next day I'm feeling good to get a good one in.
So you were in the gym 5 to 6 days a week. Let's break down, how's that routine look like for you, at least these days? And maybe it evolved from what it used to be, but let's start with how is it currently?
I'm still kind of split up a little bit. I change it. I'll do a push pull. I'll do an upper body, lower body, sometimes different things like that. But right now it's broken up. I have it as back and then chest and buys. And then I do legs with more of a hamstring focus. And then I do shoulders and tries. And then I do legs again with more of a quad focus. And I do calves both days. It's a weaker body part for me. I just have longer limbs. I have for 20 years hit them more often than most other body parts to try to make up the difference. It's like a 5-day split. And then I usually take a day off. Sometimes it's just in the middle of it. Sometimes it's like at the end of it, it just see how it works out. So
being in the gym 5 to 6 days a week, how intense are these workouts as far as if we go dive into some of these details, training to failure or max effort type stuff? Are you doing any of that?
Yeah. So what I usually do is I do a lot of supersets, I'd say right now. That I've been doing that for a while now, especially like in my home gym. A chest day might be incline dumbbell press, supersetted with incline flies, incline, not dumbbell flies, but like cable flies. And then I'm doing chest and buys together. So then I'll literally go right into a bicep set, whether it be a hammer curl, or sometimes I'll do like I'll already have those cables on the ground from those, and I'll do almost like an inclined curl. And so I'll end up doing 3 to 4 sets of that combo. And then I'll move to something else, like a flat bench and a cable crossover, and then supersetted with another bicep, set, some type of either stretching. Usually I mix up my stretching exercises that are kind of elongating the muscle for like biceps, for instance. So I usually have 3 sets of an incline curl and then more of a middle range. So like a regular barbell curl or maybe a hammer curl, something like that. And then I'll do a concentrated curl. So it's more for maybe with my arms overhead and curling from above, so that I'm getting that contraction set, I'm getting a stretch set, and I'm getting that middle kind of, I don't want to call it growing set, but
basically the range where you can handle the most load, if you will.
Exactly. So that's how my training splits are right now. I don't work out super long. I do hit to failure usually. So if I do 3 sets, like if I'm doing incline dumbbell and then supersetting with incline fly, the third set specifically, I'm taking those to failure. The first 2 might be a little short of failure, leave a couple in the tank. And then the last one is till failure at that point. Because I'm not going to hit it again. I'm not hitting chest again for 5 to 6 days. So I definitely am afraid to hit it pretty good. So that's kind of like my normal routine. And most of my workouts don't last more than 45 to 50 minutes.
You mentioned you're not married to, like, if you had this plan, let's say this excitement for this routine that you wanted to do, how you're not married to it, because that's exactly what your dad had mentioned. How much of that is influenced by just your dad's impact on just how you guys were raised through training? And do you think he had an influence on just your mindset and how you were able to have this approach where you're not just biased or married to one kind of way of going about doing things? Like the common mistakes people will make, you kind of have to train yourself not to be like that if you are more towards that way of thinking.
Yeah, he has a lot to do with that, I'd say. I think some of it's definitely me just in general, but a lot of it has to do with him. We used to always talk about it. It's like, all right, well, what's more important, right? How significant would this specific set be to your gains? Or if it's not feeling right, what's more detrimental, right? The reward of the set, right? Of that incline bench or whatever it is that's maybe not feeling the way you normally would feel or you like to feel, or the risk of potentially getting injured. If something's kind of clicking in my shoulder or I'm not liking the way it's sitting on me or whatever, it's like at the end of the day, if I'm out of the gym for 3 or 4 weeks because I do something that makes me tweak my lower back, or I do something that takes me out of the gym for 3 or 4 weeks, chances are me performing that set just because isn't probably going to give me the reward as important as what the risk would be as if I was to get injured and be out of the gym. I have a very hard time too, like not lifting, even if it's just a half-hour workout for a day. Some days get ahead of me with kids. Sometimes things come up that you just don't expect to happen. So yeah, it's like in my head, the morning of, I plan on training at this time or whatever. Sometimes things happen and it just doesn't work out that way. So if I'm supposed to lift on a day and I'm not able to, I can get over it nowadays. Before I had kids, it would really bother me at night if I went to bed and I knew I didn't get it in. Now I'm okay with it, but I'm definitely training the next day. Like then now I'm moving the off day, just got moved into today, and tomorrow's I'm going to train what I was supposed to train. So if I go 2 days though, it just bothers me. So then I'm just not in like that great of a mood at that point for the rest of the day. It's so like embedded in me. I know a lot of people do deloads. I'm not saying it's the smartest for me to not deload, but I usually will deload and it'll be situational. Like sometimes, like if I know I'm going away on a vacation, like next month I'm going to Ireland with my wife, and so we're gonna go. And like realistically, I don't know how easy it's gonna be for me to train. I don't know what gyms are gonna be around or if our hotel will have one, and even if they do, like what our schedule looks like for touring and all this stuff. So like in that situation, sometimes I won't have deloaded at all in over a year or anything, but then I'll just be like, you know what, mentally, like I can feel okay with this. Like obviously we're going away. I don't want to ruin a once in a lifetime experience so that I can go find a way to get a lift in. Obviously, yeah, if I could fit them in, it fits our schedule 100%. I usually do when I'm vacations. I can get over that, of course, and I'll use those as deloads basically if I'm going away or situationally like that. I don't schedule them into my routine. Obviously, it's usually beneficial. It doesn't feel that way sometimes in the moment, but obviously there's a lot of bits to it. So it's like you just gotta be cool with it.